Howdy folks, it is Scanner here. In this video I'm going to talk about two things. One, super quickly, the images that you're going to be seeing over the course of this video are miniatures from a game called Conquest, The Last Argument of Kings, and they can also be used in Conquest First Blood, the skirmishy version of that game. This game was recommended to me by a viewer of my Alternatives to Games Workshop games video that I did. Part 2 is currently being made. Conquest is one of the games that I'm going to be talking about in it, but I have already fallen madly in love with this game, and I think lots of people out there will like it, so check it out if you haven't heard of it before. Now, what I want to talk about in this video is why I personally am going to buy my copy of Kill Team tomorrow. I will be placing my pre-order with my FLGS, my friendly local gaming store. The reason I am doing this is because the last 12 to 18 months have been very hard for smaller hobby shops like that. It's not been an easy time for anybody. I'm well aware of this. But if I am going to be buying a Games Workshop item, I will be buying it, or well, any item, to be honest, I will be buying it from my local stores where I can. I cannot tell you how important having a local store is to the hobby. Even in a small country like Ireland, having just a couple of stores within the entire country that you can actually buy stuff from is vital. We have some very good stores here that I plan on helping out and supporting by buying my stuff from them. They're great places, and it's just a vital part of the hobby is having a brick and mortar store, because without them, it's very difficult for people to just casually get into the hobby. You can be walking past a shop on the high street and just see out of the corner of your eye the miniatures and be like, wow, that's really interesting. And you go in and the staff in there are cool and they tell you all about the hobby, and you're painting and you're doing all the rest of it and you get into the hobby. It's great. They also give places for people to hang out and play games and foster their interest in the hobby over time. The reason I feel that these places are so important is because I didn't have one when I was a kid. I grew up in a very isolated part of the country. I simply had a single person that I could play the hobby with up until I was about 17 or so, when I actually managed to meet other people who were into the hobby. And then I began playing with them as well. But none of us had a store. We all just had each other. And it wasn't until we kind of met by chance as a group, there was a catalyzing moment, I guess, where everybody realized, oh, wow, you're also into this fucking hobby, are you? It wasn't until then that we realized, oh, wow, there's actually other people around the place to play with. So your friendly local gaming store is vitally important. And the last couple of months and years, I guess, have been crushing for them. The cost of just about everything has gone up over the course of the pandemic. I'm not sure how many people out there are being impacted extremely badly by this in your personal lives, but if you operate a business that runs on tight margins, as most hobby stores and gaming stores will do, then you're going to be painfully aware of it. And believe me, your local stores are painfully aware of it. So I would prefer to do as much of my purchasing as possible through my friendly local gaming stores where I can. Now, for me, friendly local gaming store is somewhat of an oxymoron, because the actual store itself can be, there's one that I like to buy off that's about 50 kilometers away, and there's another one that's over 100 kilometers away, but there's none near me. I still live in a small town in Ireland. It's not like there's a hobby shop nearby. I would prefer to support the businesses that are worth supporting within the country, which for me means just about any hobby shop that is willing to sell to me on the internet and is located within Ireland. That's pretty much how I draw the line on things. But I implore, if you have a local hobby shop nearby, that you also purchase your copies of as much stuff as you can there, that you give that local shop the opportunity to stock something, before purchasing it somewhere online, that you strike up a relationship with the staff and you give them a chance to order you in things or get in new ranges or do what you can to foster as much interest in the things that you want, so that maybe other people will want them too, and the shop will have a whole new line of things that it can sell to other interested parties. But yes, my best experiences in gaming were probably whilst I was in college, and I did have a local hobby shop nearby that was run by incredibly cool people, and I could drop in and just play games whenever I wanted and just talk about the hobby whenever I wanted. And I will forever be grateful to those folks, because the dangerous time when you are likely to fall out of the hobby is, unsurprisingly, in college, for a couple of reasons. You have no money. Most people don't anyway when they go to college, and you won't really have a huge amount of time, but you will paradoxically have a huge amount of hangovers, and it can just be very easy to fall out of the hobby at that point in time, and many people will do, and will circle back to it further on down the line when they have far more disposable income and a bit more time and all the rest of it. But you know, a local hobby shop can really keep you centered in your hobby and give you a beautiful community to be a part of, that isn't just an online community, that is actually a group of people that you can play with and interact with and avoid COVID with as a group, which is a wonderful thing. So please, where you can, support your local hobby shops. And that's it for this kind of after school special video, but that was on my mind today when I was figuring out where exactly I was going to buy my copy of Kill Team from, and I started to think about why it even felt like it was an important decision that I was actually making. So yeah, there you go, guys. Hopefully somebody got something out of this video. If you did, you may consider liking and subscribing. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much. And as always, folks, all the best.